Okay. All right, y'all. I'm going to do a live over here. I know I don't really do too many lives on this channel, but let me see. I need to start, right? But I mean, boxing's kind of picked up. So give me a second. Hold on here. There we go. All right. So yeah, boxing's getting interesting again. I mean, I've been waiting for cards like this, and this card delivered last night. In between watching UFC, I'm a boxing fan first, hardcore boxing fan. But as of lately, the UFC, MMA has been spoiling me. So I was watching UFC 302, flipping flipping back and forth from this card and this Wilder Zhang card, and hey man, this card was solid. I can't lie, it was solid. All right, so give me a second. No, I told you, James Perez, if you come through, I know I told you I'd jump on here so we can talk a little bit of boxing. Maybe I need to start jumping on more and have some real boxing conversations. I mean, you got a lot of channels out now that focus on a lot of, craziness and everything, but I still like the sport. I still like the sweet science. And, that's why I want to talk about where we are with several fighters on this card, I really wanted to talk about Dmitry Bivol and his performance. I mean, basically one-sided performance, right? I really haven't seen much of the guy he had fought. Hold on, what's his name? Let me pull his name up here. I got it right there in his full name. Hold on. Just jumping on for a little bit to talk about a few of these fights, though. So, yeah, Malik Zinad. Yeah, Malik Zinad. I was trying to do a little research on him before the fight night, but I didn't get a chance to watch too many of his, really too much on him. I know he was previously undefeated. So, yeah, man. Let me go ahead and talk about this a little bit. Yeah, we got there we go. Yeah, we had a pretty good night of boxing. We got a good. It keeps freezing up right there. Okay. Yeah, we had a good night of boxing. We got some good fights, some good results on this card, some questions answered. Yeah, Dmitry Bivol, he was able to stop Malik Zinad 6 rounds. I expected that. Zhang, brutal knockout finish, brutal knockout TK over Deontay Wilder. So I want to discuss that a little bit. Shout out to Daniel Dubois. He was able to snatch up the IBF heavyweight belt, which was, I guess, stripped from Usyk. Since how they play that game. Whenever somebody becomes undisputed, they take that belt from them real quick, right? So maybe with Daniel Dubois getting his victory over Philippe Govit, because a lot of people were talking about Philippe Govit and thought he was going to win, but I picked Daniel Dubois in that fight, and he was able to come away with the victory, and get a belt, man, via TKO. Stopped Govik in the 8th round. That was a good fight. All right, but yeah, Dmitry Bivol getting by Malik Zinad. That was I won't say it was a throwaway fight, but it was a stay busy fight for Dmitry Bivol. Bivol, he was supposed to be fighting the big fight, the fight that we were all looking forward to, Artur Beterbiev. That was going to be the undisputed fight. That's the fight that we were all looking forward to, this Saturday. But unfortunately, Beterbiev had an injury, so Malik Zinad stepped in. So shout out to Malik Zinad for stepping in, to take the fight. He got paid for it. Like I said, I didn't really see anything as far as like just pressure from Bivol. So Bivol just pretty much walked through him, dropped him in the first round, and from there, for the other 5 rounds is pretty easy work for Dmitry Bivol. So yeah, that was just kind of a tune-up fight, stay busy fight. That's the 12th title defense for Dmitry Bivol. All right, so we're moving on now, and we got a date locked in, right? Supposedly October 12th is going to be the reschedule for the undisputed fight with Beterbiev, right? So that's good. Let me see here, just so y'all know, I'll put a link right here from let me see, badlefthook.com. Y'all can read it right here if y'all want to know. So that's good news. Beterbiev fight is rescheduled for October 12th. I'm gonna do a little breakdown on that fight. The closer we get to it, Beterbiev. I think that earlier, I was more in favor of Beterbiev. I felt like Artur Beterbiev had a big chance of, just going in and stopping a guy, even with that type of style like Bivol. I know Bivol, he's quick. He has those thudding combinations, pretty good speed, hand speed, solid IQ. He knows how to put those combinations together. But I've always kind of favored Beterbiev just because he packs that power in both hands. And, Dmitry Bivol, I don't think he's ever been hit like that before. I mean, I've seen Beterbiev down before, but I've never really seen Bivol like hurt before. And Beterbiev, he has technique and grit. He has technique, grit, and power, and that strength. So I always kind of favor Beterbiev, like if the fight had happened 2020, 2019, 2021. But as time goes on now that, Beterbiev has this injury, and I believe he had an injury before this, right? It kind of makes me question, like, I know the guy can hit. Beterbiev, he has power, but time is catching up. He's already 40. He's already 40 years old, and when these injuries start to catch up, it kind of makes you feel like sometimes these guys, they might start to lose a step. Well, yeah, he's 39, but he's gonna be 40 pretty soon, in a few more months. His last fight was back in January against Caleb Smith, which, I thought he was gonna win that fight. He won that by stoppage, of course. 100% knockout ratio. So, yeah, Caleb Smith wasn't really a big threat to him, but now you got Dmitry Bivol, who can box, punch, he can move. Not going to get drawn into a punching match like some of these guys. He's got the footwork to get out of harm's way. Beterbiev, like I said, as time moves on, pushing 40, with his legs be able to keep up, and be able to take some of those combinations from a guy like from Bivol. So a lot of questions going to be answered in this fight. Even though Beterbiev is, getting up there in age, I still consider him, to be a solid guy, prime, ready to go. And the fight still holds a lot of weight. I just hate the fact that it's been getting pushed back due to injuries or, politics and things like that. So hopefully we do get this fight by the end of the year. Can't be pushed back anymore. We got to go ahead and make this thing. It's been a while since we had an undisputed light heavyweight champion, right? Who was the last undisputed heavyweight champion? I mean, Andre Ward was unified. Was Kovalev ever undisputed, or was he just unified as well? Yeah, because he was just unified because Adonis Stevenson had the WBC belt, right? And they never picked up the undisputed crown because nobody ever fought Adonis Stevenson, right? Because Sergey Kovalev and Adonis Stevenson, of course, they never fought. And if they did, that would have unified all the belts. But I remember Bernard Hopkins had I believe Bernard Hopkins had won the IBF and WBA, I want to say. And Kovalev had the WBO belt. So when they fought, they unified, right? And that made Kovalev the 3-belt holder, while Adonis Stevenson had won the WBC belt. So when he had that, they never fought. Andre Ward becomes the unified champion by beating Kovalev, but he never fought Adonis Stevenson. So yeah, he was just a unified champion as well. So undisputed, what goes all the way back just to Roy Jones? Is that it? Let me see. I wonder if we can find it on Google. Hold on. Who was last undisputed, not heavyweight champion, but light heavyweight champion? Let's see. Because I know Canelo, he'll never move up and do that, but he'll never be able to do that at a light heavyweight. Let's see. Going all the way back to during the WBC era. Hold on, light heavyweights. Oh, they got it listed by eras too when they throw more belts in. Well, yeah, during the WBA, WBC, IBF era, Michael Spinks was, and then Roy Jones was from 99 to 2002 with 7 title defenses. But yeah, after that, there's been no undisputed, just guys holding belts, being unified, but there hasn't been an undisputed light heavyweight champion since Roy Jones, right? And if you go back, yeah, they were just count 3 then, but what's his name? Darius Mikuszewski, he had the WBO, so they never really made like a four belt undisputed champ either. So yeah, this fight needs to happen now, and I'm glad that they were able to reschedule, lock in the date. Just keep my fingers crossed that nothing else happens here. But yeah, I'm gonna do another little breakdown on it. Again, this was just like a stay busy fight for Bivol. Hopefully, they can make this thing happen. We'll get questions answered, because even with 12 title defenses from Bivol, I mean, that's impressive. He's done his job as far as keeping his championship, but his real test is in front of him. Canelo wasn't really the guy to me to give him a test. I didn't think Canelo was going to beat Bivol at all. 100%, I went with Bivol, but Beterbiev is that one guy in the division that he needs on his resume, and vice versa, right? All right. So, moving on here. Zhang stopping Deontay Wilder, man. I mean, shout out to Deontay Wilder. I'm always been a fan of Deontay Wilder. I'm a fan of the style. I'm a fan of any guy that can score knockouts like him, But going into this fight here, fan-wise, like I always say, my MMA channel, fan-wise, there's the guys I go for. But when it comes down to picks and action analysis, I have to. They don't always match up, right? My fan pick won't be the same as my serious pick. Okay, there's people I'm rooting for, but then there's guys that I know don't have a chance at this point. And unfortunately, outside of Deontay Wilder's right hand, and just maybe if he brings in some new tricks into a fight, then I didn't really see him having a chance against Zhang, especially when I saw that weight difference. I mean, weight doesn't mean much, but with the way Zhang fights and the way Deontay Wilder has been looking in the past few fights after, the Tyson Fury rubber match, I was feeling like, nah, man, like, I think Zhang is going to be able to use that weight to his advantage in every aspect of it, whether it's putting the power down on his own punches, whether it's just putting his weight on Deontay Wilder, leaning on Deontay Wilder, and also absorbing Deontay Wilder's punch, because Deontay Wilder's power hasn't really been that present anymore since that third Fury fight and the Joseph Parker fight. It wasn't really there. He couldn't even hurt Parker in that fight. And since that performance, I was like, man, like if he loses that, then he's about to lose everything now, because they haven't really developed like basic fundamentals in there where he can just spear guys off a jab and just parry punches and come back over the top with the right hand, like Larry Holmes, or he doesn't even really move as fluid as a guy like Riddick Bowe. Riddick Bowe, he's kind of heavy, but Riddick Bowe, he could flow with his 1-2. Like, that's the thing. Like, when you look back, these guys that learn from the greats like Eddie Futch and Emmanuel Stewart, they were able to they were able to learn those basic fundamentals and make it their own, and they would flow. It don't even matter about the size. Like, you don't even have to be ripped or anything. But these guys back in the day, they really learned how to they really learned punch mechanics, and they they could just make a basic 1-2, their simple weapon, and they could go through a whole fight and win it that way. So I've always felt like if Deontay Wilder had just developed like a good solid 1-2 down the pipe, he would, his career would carry on, you know. But even then, Deontay Wilder, I mean, he did a lot. He did a lot with what he had. He started late in the game, and for what he was doing it for, I respect him and commend him for that, definitely. But yeah, going into this fight here, I just felt, Zhang Zhang had every, just every box checked off to beat him. Especially being a southpaw too. I knew that right hook, right hand was going to be present. I thought he was going to walk in more in the left hands like he did to Joseph Parker. Not Joseph Parker, but Joe Joyce. But he did drop Joseph Parker too, right? Zhang Zhang? Yeah. But yeah, in this fight here, that southpaw style, I knew it was going to be a problem if Deontay Wilder couldn't neutralize and stay away from the left hand throughout the fight. Zhang Zhang just, was backing Wilder up, putting a lot of pressure on him and hitting him with basic 1-2s here and pinning him to the cage, pinning him to the ropes and banging away at the body and, even putting the weight on him. And Wilder didn't really have much of a weapon outside of that right hand, because there were times, I seen like up close, like not just Zhang Zhang taking the right hand, but I was a little worried about Wilder whenever he was missing some straight right hands. Like there was a few times when Wilder tried to put the right hand down the middle, like it was either because he was backed against the cage, or backed against the ropes, or just worried about worried about that pressure. When he would try to throw that straight right hand, it would just fly right by, like he was off the mark a few times. He was just off the mark. Like maybe it was just because, like I said, he was fighting southpaw, or is just because of that natural pressure he wasn't used to, or just worried about getting hit. A lot of things, but I could tell they didn't really train for fighting a left-handed fighter like this, and that's where Zhang Zhang, he just was able to get a little bit more comfortable in there. First 4 rounds, I think he just cleared, just clearly outboxed and just kind of was dismantling Wilder with these hard right hands like you see here and the straight left hands. And it wasn't until the 5th round, like Wilder's best moments in the 5th round, were the round that he got knocked out in. I thought Wilder started to come on strong with some good hard right hands, and Zhang started to back up, but you didn't really see that Zhang buckled or anything. He wasn't really hurt. He just said, okay, let me back up here, create space, and let him come forward, and I'm gonna start doing what I was doing. And that's what he did. He hit Wilder with a good Wilder actually was coming out of the ropes at one point, and this was another point where I was like, oh, this fight's probably about to be over, because he came over the top with a good hard right hand, like up high up on the top of Zhang Zhang's head, and it didn't even phase him. This was in the 5th round, right before the knockout. Like Zhang Zhang got hit with that right hand over the top, kept coming forward, and what does he do? Cracks Wilder with that hard right hook, and Wilder just kind of like did this little spin, like he was talking to the referee. I don't know what was going on, like in that real quick split second, and then boom, he catches another right hand that puts him down. He's on his back. And when I saw him on his back, I was like, okay, man, this is over. Oh, man, this is over. And ref started counting. Wilder was up, but when he came to the ref, I mean, you could see the legs, the ankles were giving out. So he did the right thing. He stopped the fight, He did the right thing to stop the fight. I mean, Wilder was taking like a consistent sequence of shots in this fight. Like none of them were like the Tyson Fury fight, which to me was even scarier now, because, well, to me, this shows that the shots he was taking in this fight didn't even have that type of power on it early in the fight. But look at the damage they were doing to his face. Wilder has, the pronounced cheekbones here. And, with him being so small at 214, his punch resistance is, is really low. Just imagine, guys that are like 168 getting hit by guys like it's 147. It's going to do serious damage. So Wilder, him being 214 and this lean, and even up by his face, you can see, like I said, pronounced cheekbones. He's taking shots that hard on the skull. They're going to do serious damage. And you can see like the puffiness in his face and his eyes, man. He was really taking some heavy shots. So, yeah, man, the more that Wilder fights, especially against these guys that I know he has that lack of power now, the beating's going to be really severe because, early on in his career, he didn't get hit as much, and if he did, he was like pulling back and rolling away from a lot of these shots. He was still using that youthfulness he had, but now that he's slowing down and he doesn't really have that force behind the right hand anymore. Because you go and look, like somebody did like a little punch mechanic video, like a little scientific breakdown on how Wilder generates his power. And the way he was generating his power, you can say, okay, yeah, like he was younger, he was able to do that. But with the way his body moves and he doesn't really have that strength anymore, and then even in his legs, he's not going to be able to generate that power anymore. Like he doesn't push that momentum off like the back foot anymore. So that power element is gone, right? They always say the last thing that goes to power, but with the way he punches, a lot of that comes from that force, the way he, turns and comes in with his legs, even though his legs aren't that big, so without that, and now he's slower, he's more of a sitting target here. At 214, again, the weight makes a difference. It's really going to make a difference now too if you're stationary and your punch resistance is low and the guy's outweighing you by 70 pounds. He did well in the Fury fight, but again, that was something he never faced before, but you see how it tore him down. So the accumulation of those 3 Fury fights and him fighting somebody that was outweighing him, it was really tearing him apart, honestly. Those 3 fights, you fight somebody that big that was laying on you and punching you in the ear and the head, and you never been punched like that before, it's going to tear you down, and now add this fight to the mix. Yeah. So, I can honestly say at this point, sadly, I think Wilder is done, because just all of those things, getting beat 4 times, 4 out of your last 5 fights or so. Well, I won't say 4 out of the last 5, but yeah. These 4 fights, Zhang, the 3 Fury fights, those were some serious blows he taken from some heavy punchers, heavy guys, but hard punchers as well. So delivering that to a small frame Wilder, they're going to add up, and I don't think he'll be back the same anymore. And that's not something to say to be disrespectful. I mean, we've seen it. He's only human, right? We've seen this time and time again. So it's not like when somebody said, well, for me, as a fan of Wilder, as a fighter and entertainer, I think he's done. Just like as I was a fan of Roy Jones, when I seen him where his best days are behind him, I could admit when he was done. I can't keep lying and say, oh, yeah, you ready, you good, you go back in there. No, he's done. Yeah, Wilder, I think he's just done at this point, especially at heavyweight. This is one of the worst divisions to be in, to lose your speed and power, because you become a sitting duck at heavyweight. And these are the worst. These are going to be some of the most hellacious punches you ever take, That's why heavyweights were always different from every other division, because this division, all it takes is one punch. I remember I was watching one local fight, man, and, they had the heavy favorite, hometown favorite. Everybody thought he was going to win against this. This was a heavyweight fight. It's this little flabby guy who came in just little shorts bought from Target, Walmart shorts. And this dude, this little flabby guy swings one Hail Mary and boom, knocks the hometown favorite out. He's on his back. He's out cold, so that's the heavyweight division for you. That's how it goes down sometimes. And, with Wilder, he's definitely seen great days, but now that he's limited even more so, there's no reason for him to go on. And again, this comes from somebody that respects the game, respects him as a fighter, respects why he chose to fight. I just think that it's time for him to hang it up, to spend time with his family. And it's not for me to say, oh, I don't just want to see him gone because I don't like him. No, I like Wilder. I don't want to see him get hurt because he's limited even more now, and he has a family to take care of. That's what it is for me. Like, don't get hurt. Don't get hurt any more than you have. Especially when you already made enough money to do the things that you came in the game to take care of. Right? That's the whole purpose for Deontay Wilder. So I think he's done now. I think it should be done right off in the sunset. This happens. It's happened before. It'll happen again. Again, we're just human. All of us human. Even the best fighters. You've seen the best fighters have their days where, they're out on their back or they get knocked out of the ring, or they suffer really worse injuries down the line because they don't know when to get out. Right. The same thing can happen to him. He's no special case. It'll happen to him too, as long as he stays around. So I think Deontay Wilder just needs to, wrap it up at this point and move on. Zhang, he's done what he was supposed to do. I think with the position he's in, Zhang definitely deserves a title shot. Deserves the winner of, if not a shot at the IBF belt against Daniel Dubois, maybe get a shot at the winner of Usyk Fury too. That would be a good fight, because time is ticking for Zhang Zhang as well. Zhang Zhang is 41 years old. He's my age. He was born the same year I am, and I got to say, look, I got to give the guy credit. He's 41 years old and he's still competing at this level. You don't see that much. Bernard Hopkins, George Foreman, you saw those guys do it, but Zhang Zhang, he started it in 2014. I believe he started boxing at the age of 31. So, he was a late bloomer as well. So starting back in 2014, 31 years old. He went through a lot of years without taking a lot of punishment too. So yeah, at that age, that gave him a chance to kind of grow as a fighter. Starting that late, he was going to be fresher than a lot of these other guys. But yeah, he's made it this far. He finished Joe Joyce 2 times. Who else? Yeah, he did lose to Joseph Parker. Yeah, he did lose to Joseph Parker, but it was still a good fight. He did drop Joseph Parker, So with this win, we'll see. We'll see Daniel Dubois is on the oh wow, I'm looking at his resume. 2 years ago, he lost to the opponent that he lost to that Croatian boxer, Govic, Hrgovic. And, Daniel Dubois finished him, so Zhang has lost to him and Joseph Parker. So Joseph Parker has a win over Wilder and Zhang. So, yeah, Zhang, at 41 years old, I'd like to see him get a shot, though, so he does have holes in his game. He can be hit, but you got to have the tools. And, I just didn't think Wilder had the tools to take him on like that, I just didn't think he had that style that was going to hurt Zhang like that. You got to be, I think, fast. You got to throw combinations, and you got to be able to have the strength too. Strength combinations, So yeah. Moving on from here, yeah, maybe if not this fight, I know maybe if not Daniel Dubois, maybe F.A. Jagba. That's a good fight for Zhang. If F.A. Jagba, he want to get over here in Saudi and try to get some of that money too, because that's where everybody's going now. These guys are getting that money over there. I believe Ryan Garcia, he's trying to get on this next card too over in Saudi. So that's where it's at. That's where the heavyweight money is right now. So it's getting interesting now, y'all. Boxing's kind of getting interesting now that the Saudi Arabia is, putting up this money and they're making these cards. It's kind of like forcing them to make UFC level cards now, where it's not just one main heavyweight attraction or one main event that everybody wants to see and the rest of the card is lackluster. No, like they actually put together UFC level cards where you have championship fight after championship fight after championship fight, or contender, title eliminator, right? So you filling these cards up now like they did Joshua, Wilder, Bivol. They're willing to put all of these guys on the same card now, and they have to do that now. They have to do that if they want to compete with MMA, right? And they're still getting the money too. So if they continue to make this high level cards and get that money, these guys they got to start going over there, signing over there with Eddie Hearn. It sucks that all the Americans lost last night, but hey, man, it is what it is. I mean, whoever's representing the sport right now, it's showing. And that's something I'll probably talk about in a video at some point, where American fighters are kind of falling off here and why they're falling off, So, yeah, man, that's all I got on this one, guys. I just wanted to jump on a live here. If y'all missed it, just catch it later on. Bring more traffic back in here with y'all boxing fans. But, yeah, I'll catch y'all on another one. I'm out. Peace.